Hello and welcome. We have things to discuss. I wish I could redo Lucius's romance. Let me just get that out of the way and say, if I could do any romance over again, I would do Lucius's romance over again. Because there was so much that I got caught up in and that I did not get the ability to fully appreciate, and so I am going to try to give you the ability to fully appreciate it. A lot has happened in the last couple weeks. Also, look at my awesome hat. This is from the DLC, which I was so kindly gifted after making the house customizer website and the farm planner website. If you've used either of those were my doing. I made those from scratch and it was really fun. But let's talk to Plato. And let's begin here. So you learn what the moon marked are, have you? Your eagerness to learn is utterly obnoxious, but if you're curious, then I shall enlighten. Some of us are fortunate enough to be touched by the moon, marked by its beautiful cosmic energy. It is fate worthy of embracing, and eventually all moon-marked come to understand this. I know demons and monster folk tend to prefer the dark. We moonmarks share some similarity with lowly creatures, yes, but do not make any mistake. Demons and monster folk are born in darkness. We were chosen by it. So why is your temple made out of stone? Stone and iron, outsider, and that's none of your concern. But since you ask, it is to resist an ancient enemy of our temple. He's a terrible monster that flies on wings of stolen moon energy, his body twisted and warped by the darkness he so foolishly believes he controls. Who could that be? Just as the vile demons and miserable monster folk were. In our teachings, we know him as Usurper, who dared wield magic that is ours by birthright. His burning breath is capable of reducing wood and vine to smoldering ash, but not stone and iron. Our temple will never be destroyed by such ineffective flame. To us, he is called Moonstealer, Dominus Mortis, or simply just Usurper. Is that how you said it? Usurper? To others, he is known as Dinus. What is going on with the moon marked? Dinus is some corrupted version of what Lucius is. There is some juicy secrets going on here. I must know. I will interject regularly in this video to provide this to you because as I was going through this, I was like a robot. I was a zombie. I was just reading and going along and being like, I don't understand what's going on with Lucius. I'm confused. But now that I've recorded it, rewatched it, edited it, and understood it, digested it, simmered on it, I want to give you the picture that I now have after reading it 10 times. So I will do my best to give that to you in this video. Let's finish this conversation. Dinus, I know of him. Then you should know what a detestable beast he is. He paid the price for the power he stole. His twisted body is proof of that. So Dinus looks different. He has like galaxy wings now, right? He looks different than he did at the start. What did he look like before? We don't know. Maybe he looked like Elios, but blue? But now he has wings that look like this water over here, right? So that is where I will begin. And as we go through Lucius's romance, I will try to give you as much information on that as I can. Lucius has a summer sprite. Okay. He has a giant ponytail. Okay. Have you ever basked in the glow of the moon before? Why do you like the moon so much? There's a balance to nature. Fire and water, plants and animals, sun and moon. Most of the citizens in Nelvari embrace the sun. Elves like me are the other side of that balance. The moon is beautiful. People should approach it more often. We're getting hearts. Lucky for you, I did not care about Lucius before, so I never talked to him. You truly respect the duality of nature. Perhaps you're more at home here than you know. Give gift. Let's give him, oh, we have Havenite, actually. That's perfect. Thank you for the Havenite. Who told you I love stuff like this? See ya. How do I find his house? Where does he live? Can I only get there at night because he's an attendant of the moon? Or can I get there during all times of day? Oh, maybe it's on the map, actually. What? They just like... What? Okay, that's a big addition to the Nelvari map. I was not expecting that. My god, okay. This is so fun. Hello there, I don't believe we've met, have we? I'm Elsie. Nelvari is a beautiful place made more beautiful by those who appreciate it. I'm Opal, and it's good to meet you. So, I think there must be something going on with this devil bunny right here. That's just my theory. Crumbling statue. The statue's inscription has almost entirely worn away. From what you can still make out, it was written in a language that's entirely unknown to you. A statue depicting a youthful elven woman, and the inscription on the statue's base reads, Celestial Wanderer, the Mother Moon, forever on her journey in the ever beyond. It's a lot of long words. I'm a little afraid of my future here. And who's this? Plato. I haven't seen you around here before, and you don't look Nelvarian. Who are you? I'm Elsie. Ah, yes, Gorwyn's little outsider friend. I should have guessed. If you're going to trample around our temple grounds, you best remember to keep in mind that you're on sacred ground. Treat it that way. Old man just said, get off my lawn. Okay. This is gorgeous. It's so beautiful. Temple of the Moon. You need to be better friends with Lucius before you can enter the Temple of the Moon. Exclamation point. Okay, it's fine. The moon. You really must bask in its gentle glow with me sometime. We can take our time appreciating its waxing and waning beauty. I mean, after all, we're friends, no? Most people in Nelvari don't really understand me, including my fellow attendants. You, though? You never look at me strange or ask me to stop talking about the moon. I like that. You're alright, not as good as the moon, but well, you do what you can. So, thanks for that. Okay, I have to check in with Lucius in the morning because otherwise he goes home for the entire day and you can't get to him until like 7 p.m. at night, and that's too late for me. Alright. Hello, busy at work again, are we? What are you up to right now, Lucius? I'm thinking about some of my favorite owls. The owls of Nelvari are excellent predators and completely silent when they fly through the night sky. Lately, though, I believe they've fallen on hard times with their hunts. If the owls are finding less prey to catch, then it must mean there's less prey to go around. I do hope the situation improves soon. Nature sounds very complex. It is very complex and delicate. Navarra once explained to me that nature is like a chain. Each individual link of the chain relies on the link below and above it. If just one link breaks, the chain snaps. I didn't think Navarra was the type to use chains as a metaphor, but it certainly painted an effective picture. What do you do for fun? Oh, well, when I'm not able to gaze up at the moon, I do enjoy good music, which Nelvari is full of. The natural hymns of the night, the chirping of the insects, and the unfiltered rushing of the river are beautiful, but a hot bowl of noodles and the mushroom bards is also perfectly acceptable. What about griffin riding? I've never been much of an adventurous type before, but I won't know unless I give it a try, right? Hey, do you suppose I could ride a griffin at night? Now that would be amazing. Wouldn't it? But alas, none of us have the ability to ride a griffin at night. See ya. This is thrilling. A collection of plants and waters taken from the forest night. What are they planning on doing with this stuff? These books are all stamped with the words Temple Library. Someone must have brought them out and put them on this bookshelf. They're all written in a strange, harsh-looking language you don't even begin to recognize. It's definitely not ancient Nelvarian, that's for sure. I wonder what's coming next. These books are all written in a strange, harsh-looking language. What could that language be? Oh, well, if it isn't the language of Owaj Luza, which, Owaj Loser, I hold in my hand a tentacle monster emblem. The words Cthulhu, Fertiz, Owaj Loza are carved into the emblem's backside, and when we give it to Lucius... What's that? A little rock. May I see it? That's so strange. It keeps whispering something? Oachloza. Oachloza. That sounds sort of like the ancient Nalvarian word for moon. Huh. Very weird. I'm sure Elder Plato would know more about this. Thanks for sharing. Even though we cannot give it to Elder Plato, we can't get any other explanation besides what he just gave us. There definitely are some secrets here about Dinas and this strange Nalvarian language. Adjusting to your new life. Okay. So the idea is that the attendants of the moon are normal people who become blue because of all the time they spend in the moonlight. So this is all like normal people just deciding that they're gonna spend their entire lives taking care of the moon. Let me check that my daytime is very slow so I can read this. With more children than ever receiving the moon mark. Pause. More children than ever receiving the moon mark. Why? What event is going on in the world that more children would receive the moon mark than before? Could it have to do with this weird moon mana we're being introduced to? Could it have to do with some of this Cthulhu stuff? I just think that we should keep an eye on this indication that the moon marking is accelerating. I'm taking it upon myself to author a book that can better explain the intricacies of the condition and what those with the moon mark must do to continue living a happy, relatively normal life. The most important thing you must know, young marked one, is that your body will be going through changes. Elves are creatures of sunlight who fear the night and dark. You are no longer a creature of sunlight. You will come to embrace the night and the dark. No one knows why some receive the moon mark, or why is it exclusive to the elves. This isn't important. Ever notice the big ball? I think this conflicts with some previous lore. I'm gonna have to check it. This isn't important. Ever notice the big ball of fire in the sky before? The one everyone calls the sun? It delivers a constant stream of energy, mana, to living things. You, young marked one, were born incapable of absorbing the sun's mana efficiently. Now that you are on the cusp of becoming fully marked, your body is beginning to adapt in order to draw upon the new source of mana, the moon. You will live beneath the moon. You will give the moon tribute. You will adhere to the traditions of the marked and you'll adhere to the traditions of the marked who came before you. The moon is life and energy. When you were a child, you probably realized you always felt slow, maybe a little tired. The lack of energy got worse as you grew older. From your earliest days, elders with keen eyes knew you were a little slower than your fellow children, needed more sleep. You were moon marked long before any physical changes began to occur. Okay, now let us pinch the petal from the flower right away. The others in Nelvari will never understand you. Not truly. They still shun the night, fearful of the dark forest and the enemies that lurk in them. Your parents, your friends. You'll start to see less and less of them as your life shifts away from a world of sunlight. But enough about that. I will write now about important things. Things you must know that your life begins anew and you become your true self. The following chapters concern tips and tricks on nightly skincare regimens, how to make peace with raccoons, and for some reason, a recipe for moony blueberry tarts. There's another journal. The floor hurts to walk on. Why is the temple made out of rocks anyways? Elder Gorwin told me I'd be right at home in the temple, but I'm not sure he's right. The temple's elder didn't seem happy to meet me, but at least he let me have a room. I still miss my room at my home, though. I wonder if Mom and Dad are thinking about me right now, or maybe it's better they forget about their moon-touched son. I realize now there are two worlds in Nelvari. The temple is on one of the worlds, and everyone else is on the other. It's not sad to think about, really. It's just nature. The elf I was before is gone. I don't have any more questions or live in confusion. I am Lucius, moon-touched. I live in a temple of stone and iron. I have a nice bed and a little plant I like to keep watered. I don't talk to many people anymore, but it's okay. I have the moon. What if I hadn't ever become moon-touched? Would I still be the same Lucius? Would I find someone who makes me as happy as the moon does? I know I shouldn't think about such a silly question so much, but the moon is the best romance partner, is what I'm hearing. A beam of soft moonlight shimmers through the open window. You peer into the beam and a strange, unfamiliar voice fills your head. The voice speaks items in a list. Everything related to the moon. And stars. Interesting. Blueberries? Huh. Also, this is Wesley's bed, and Lucius is just chilling in it. Okay, I need that. How do I get to that? Wow, Lucius's home is awesome. This is so fun. I love the rain sounds. Wow. Greetings, good to see you again. So how do you become an attendant to the moon anyway? Well, yes, you see. So I was just a normal elf, right? Living in a mushroom and doing my own thing. Well, the elder puts out a notice that the attendants of the moon are recruiting. I thought it sounded a little interesting, so I joined the meeting where Elder Navarra explained the job. I realized two things during the meeting: that the attendants were a very important part of Nalvari, and that no one wanted to join their order, which makes sense. You're awake all night, your skin turns funny colors, and no one wants to hang out with you. It's a thankless job, not many elect to do it. I think your color looks amazing. Really? I mean, I know it's a striking color and all. That's what happens when you absorb enough of the moon's energy, I suppose. Everyone's talking about how much they love mine and Opal's white hair. Could I ever become an attendant to the moon? Well, I don't see why you couldn't. But there is a slight issue with the recruitment process. You see, by tradition, the attendants of the moon only recruit once every 100 years. But hey, only 89 years left to go until the next recruitment drive, although I suspect Wesley will be older by then. That'll be a really fun time. 89 years. Yep, which means I've been an attendant for, 11 years? Wow, time sure flies when you're having fun in the woods at night for 11 years. Yep, here, have this. Yay! Many hearts. You want to date me? Oh wait, I get it. This is a joke, right? Vaughn told you to prank me. Haha, you got me quite good. Wait, this isn't a prank? Well, in that case, okay, let's date. Is this? Okay. Alright, we're dating. That's fine. Nice. Now that we're dating, I find that the nights pass slower. It's like I just can't wait for the day to come so we can see each other again. Do you miss me at night? Well, I have plenty of things to keep me occupied, but I find myself longing for you more and more as we grow closer. If only you could join me in the night, the stars themselves are pale in comparison to the radiance you would radiate. I'm sorry, but I'm literally incapable of staying awake past midnight. I have to sleep. Yes, you should sleep during the night, and I sleep during the day. It's a unique challenge, but I'll do whatever I can to make our relationship work. Too bad I can't farm at night. I wouldn't say that. There are plants that grow in darkness, you know? You could be a night farmer growing night crops. It's like a normal farmer. Oh wait, only at night. You're really trying to make this work, aren't you? Well, I was just making suggestions, but since you ask, yes, I would like our budding relationship to blossom into something bigger and better. Don't you feel the same? I feel like this round of romance bowls is more romantic. I feel like they're just more romantic. Alright. Hello. I apologize if I seem a little off, but I've been thinking about something most troubling. What's troubling you? I'm just wondering, are you sure you actually like me? Sure, I have a rugged chin and incredible hair, but are those enough? We don't live in the same schedules. I know nothing about your Sunhaven. Am I good enough for you? You don't have to worry, Lucius. You're very important to me, and I can't wait to learn even more about you. Oof. What did my heart do just now? Either I pricked myself on that heartstopper vine earlier, or it was because of what you just said. Maybe even both. If that's the case, I'll need to take an antidote immediately. But thank you for what you said. I'm going to remember it from now on. I never asked about your tattoos. My markings, you mean? Alright. If you think they're the same tattooed markings the other elves have, I realize there's a lot you don't know about me. Maybe it's wrong to date you without telling you the truth. The truth? He's marked. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make it sound so foreboding. I just suddenly have a lot to think about is all. Don't feel anxious. Nothing bad. I just need some time to plan. Okay. I finally triggered the cutscene. Alright. I'm seeing this cutscene out of order. For you, it will be in order. And for that, you are lucky. I'm just excited to see it at all. Oh, hello, girls. What do I owe this meeting to? Elder Plato wanted to make sure you are keeping on task. You haven't been gathering your usual amount of mana. Yeah, Lucius, what's up with that? You know what will happen if you don't. You already messed up your arm once. I'm sorry. I've just been a little distracted lately. I'll make up the work I've missed soon. You don't have to worry. Distracted? What could possibly be distracting you? Just get your work done. We don't like being asked to get on your case. Yeah, it's not fun. Besides, we have our own work to do. Right, just don't worry about me. It's all okay. Nothing odd going on with me or anything. Whatever. Yeah, whatever. Whew. Approach him loudly or quietly? Let's do loudly. Oh, it's just you. You made my stomach jump. What was that about? Oh, did you see me chatting just now? Those were a few of my fellow attendants. They were asking about a little festival we throw at the temple each year. I heard something very different. Oh, so you heard everything, didn't you? His face. I'm sorry, they're just checking in on me. It's a little embarrassing. Why not just tell me the truth? What's up with your arm? Why did they say that? I really must be going. I have some moon-related stuff I have to collect from the bottom of the water. Gotta go. Okay. I have short hair. I cut it. These videos are all getting stitched together at a weird point in time. I went through this cutscene and then I had to, well, it broke. The cutscene wasn't working. So I'm redoing the cutscene where we can all experience it together. Okay. I really must be going. I have some moon-related stuff that I have to collect from the bottom of this water. Gotta go. Okay. Lucius is hiding something. He's about to die. It's fine. He doesn't seem ready to talk right now. Maybe he'll come around before too long. Sweet Lucius. Sweet idiot Lucius. Alright. What do you have to say for yourself after that, huh? It's about time. I feel like I've gotten, like, kind of lost in Lucius's whole dialogue story, and I'm hoping now we can bring it all together. There you are. You look like you have something to say. I think we both know there's a lot you need to know about me, things I haven't told you, and some things I haven't been exactly honest to you about. I want our relationship to be a strong one. It's clear to me that ignoring the problems doesn't make them go away. I want to know, will you meet me in private? I want a chance to come clean to you and show you all about the real me. Of course. Meet me outside the Temple of the Moon tomorrow, nice and early when the others will be out. Does 8 p.m. work for you? See ya. Hello, I'm glad you could make it. Well, actually, I'm a little worried you made it, but I've got to face the music sometime, don't I? Is he meant to be, like, nervous? I don't know. Lucius's character doesn't really all come together for me quite yet. Doesn't feel completely coherent. Thanks again for coming. Oh, shoot. Almost had that one. What? What? I'm confused. What did you want to talk to me about? Right, let me put it this way. I asked you out here to talk to you, didn't I? I'm sorry, I'm just using work as an excuse to beat around the bush. You do seem awfully nervous. Whew, oh boy. Here we go. Are you ready? Whenever you are. Right, well, no use in putting it off any longer. Lucius takes a deep breath as if to strengthen his nerves. You're not entirely sure if it worked. So, you know I'm an attendant of the moon, right? And you remember what I told you, right? About how I elected to become an attendant, right? I remember. Well, what I need to confess to you is I sort of lied a lot. This is now starting to make way more sense, right? Because we got the lore book in Lucius' home that was like, I'm marked, my parents hate me, like they just see me as an outsider, I feel different. And then he was like, anyone could become an attendant of the moon, and I just happened to stumble across the Elder one day and become one. So it's coming together. To you, about myself. You see, I haven't just been an attendant for 11 years. I've been an attendant since I was a child. Since you were a kid. That's right. See, being an attendant to the moon isn't something you decide to do, it's something you're born into. Born into like I was. And Opal and the others. It looks like Lucius is having a hard time talking about this. What will you say to make him feel better? Just breathe. You don't have to tell me anything you're not comfortable sharing. I don't care if you didn't tell me the truth. I'm sure you had a perfectly good reason for it. Oh man, is it time for some super juicy secrets? I guess we're choosing the first one because it seems the nicest. Come here, you little glow sprite. Almost got you. Lucius. Was getting distracted by bugs? What is happening? Oh, right, sorry. My mind wanders a little bit when I'm feeling especially anxious about something. Let me put this away again. What? What? I'm so lost with Lucius. Okay. But yes, I have to come clean to you about the attendants. You see, Nelvarians mark themselves with tattoos as an expression of faith or individuality or even occupation. But these markings on my body, they're not tattoos. I was born with them. So you were like a tattooed baby? You were born with them? Yes, it's called moon marked. It's what we're known as, the moon marked. Okay, but why lie about it? Well, you see, the moon mark don't really fit into Nelvari all that well. We aren't hated or even disliked, it's just we're different, and elves don't prefer the night. Culturally, the night is seen as dangerous and frightening. Okay, why do they make you live in an old temple away from everyone else? Oh gosh, no one makes us do that. We choose to live in the temple freely. It works better that way, because of our work, which, is another thing. What about it? Everything else I told you was true. The attendants work at night, taking care of nature while the others rest. What I didn't tell you is that we also gather and collect the mana of the moon. In fact, we sort of need to do it. Right, they absorb the mana from the moon or something like that. Let me guess, Wesley makes you do it. Heh, you seem to think Nelvari is a much nastier place than it really is. The amount of implications there are that Wesley is like causing all this trouble and that he's such a pain and that he's just like kind of malicious to then, once you actually say something about it, for him to be like, oh, you're so silly. I can't believe you think Nelvari is like that. I feel called out, okay? Oh, that's so funny. No, we're not forced to do it by anyone other than ourselves, perhaps. You see, I and the other attendants, well, we're sort of dependent on the moon's mana. Dependent? Dependent is American English. Dependent. Wait, what? I've spent some time on the dependent issue, and I do not know what to think, and so I'm going to call it a non-issue because I'm just confused. That's exactly right. It's a secret that not many people know. Navara, of course, and the Elder, Moonmarked, are reliant on mana from the moon. But it's not bad at all. I work at night, I keep nature balanced, and I naturally absorb all the mana that I need. It works out perfectly for everyone involved. But why hide this from me? I'm confused. Yeah, I'm sorry, I really am. It's only when you first started talking to me, this amazing-looking outsider hero who Navara herself spoke of, who the Elder himself went to personally meet. What was I going to say? Hello, my name is Lucius. I'm addicted to moon power. I just didn't really know how to tell you, but when you kept talking to me, I knew you'd ask eventually, so I came up with a stupid story as a way to protect you, and maybe protect myself as well. This isn't something you had to hide from me? Yeah, looking back on it, it was pretty stupid of me to lie to you. The truth would have had to come out eventually, or you would have found out from someone else. I just didn't want you to think badly about me, but all I did was risk you thinking badly of me for lying. Geez, talk about a rock in a hard place. Being dependent on mana must be hard. How do you live with it? I suppose so. When you have a moon-marked child, they must receive infusions of mana as they are still learning how to absorb their mana from nature. However, these infusions are more critical as a child as the child grows into their markings. Thank you for listening. So now you know. Does it change how you feel about me at all? Please, don't hold back. I can take the honesty I denied to you. I deserve it, even. It changes nothing. You are who you are. Well, now that's a relief. I'm sure you've never even heard of the word moonmarked before today, and now you find out that you're dating one. You could have just easily never given me the time of night, or, well, in your case, the time of day. Well, you don't have to be lonely anymore. That's right, I've got the moon and I've got you. What else does a guy like me need? Maybe a spiced honey brew, but I'm lucky enough with what I have now. Come on, those glow sprites won't catch themselves. I'm okay. Alright. I need some time to understand what's happening in Lucius' story, because I'm getting a little bit lost. So we start dating him. He's talking about like, oh, we come from different worlds. I don't know if I'm good enough for you. And then we're like constantly reassuring him until eventually he's just like, listen, I've been lying to you. I know I tried to make this moon thing seem really cool, but actually it's like an affliction I've had since I was a child. It's really not that cool. It's a problem for me. And now I have an arm issue. And I guess I'm struggling to see where the issue is, because to me it feels like this conflict within Lucius is kind of made up. I don't know, it doesn't feel like it's supported by the world all that much, because in the past, like, the attendant to the moon stuff is relatively new, right? So we haven't seen anyone be like, oh, you know, at least you're not an attendant to the moon. Those people are weird, right? At least you don't have those moon markings. That's weird. So we don't see a problem with him being blue, right? But there's no... I feel like I'm missing the context of why being an attendant to the moon makes you beneath other people. Like, I'm missing the social hierarchy here. Like, I get it, but I feel like it's just not well established. And so it's hard for me to really empathize with Lucius in this moment, because it feels like he's finding a problem where I can't even understand that one would exist. So I don't know. I mean, this is only the first hangout, right? So maybe the second hangout it'll start to make sense. I'm right now feeling a little bit lost. Thanks for everything. I can just see a lot of people swooning over him, calling us Starlight all the time. You're Starlight. Well, you've certainly become a light in my life. If the moon and stars provide light for my eyes, then you are a light for my heart, or my soul. Whichever sounds more romantic. Starlight, it's a cute name. It's what I think of when I think about you, so it's not only a cute name, but rather fitting. The ever beyond may have the moon, but I have you, my Starlight. So how do you like living in a temple? Oh, it's nice. The temple was specifically built in an area of the forest that attracts a lot of moonlight energy, if you couldn't tell. It's quite lovely, I think. How old is the temple? It must be very old. I know it's not as old as the Grand Tree, though. It was built by the first attendants, or at least that's what we're taught. So we keep getting a lot of this architecture, moon temple lore, and it makes me think that the building itself is actually very important. We've talked a lot about being built out of stone, and that meant that Dinas couldn't breathe his fiery breath on it. But I also wonder if it means that the temple, like, I think the timeline was like all of the dragons were in Nilvari, Nivara stayed, Elios went to Sunhaven, and Dinas went to the darkness. And so the Grand Tree was there before all of the Guardian Dragons. So it was like Grand Tree, then the dragons, and then the Moon Temple. Or it could have been Grand Tree, Moon Temple, dragons. So somewhere in there, in the ancient lore of the Grand Tree, the Moon Temple is just like slotted right in. And there must be some important piece of world lore around the timeline for this Moon Temple, because we've talked about the Moon Temple like 5,000 times in uninteresting ways that are like, it's made of stone. It was built. So I feel like there's more coming on it. You know, there's something I wanted to ask you. Ask away. My dear, I like that. But I realized something the other night. You've asked me so much about myself, but I've almost asked you nothing about yourself. I can't believe I've been so selfish. Lucius is unhinged. He's crazy. I wanted to make up for not asking enough about you by asking about you. Tell me about your farming. I don't do much farming unless I have to. Is that so, my Starlight? You must get up to all sorts of other tasks, like fishing or hitting rocks in order to get smaller rocks. Oh, I've been a terrible partner, haven't I? I really must keep up more with what you're doing. I can't take him seriously. Tell me more about being moon-marked. What's there to really say? I was born with my markings, I didn't make many friends growing up, and spent my childhood at the temple. It's not exciting, but it's been a happy enough life. My parents weren't pleased that I had the mark, but I hadn't talked to them in a long time. Do you really want to know more about it? I want to know everything about you, silly. I want to tell you anything, everything, whatever you want to know. I just apologize for being bad at it. Maybe there's a better way to tell you, a way that I'd have an easier time with. I really like this piece of dialogue after the previous ones. I think it's a nice progression, and it feels really satisfying after the other dialogues. to have this interaction. So that's cool. We're getting a keepsake. There you are. I have something I want to give to you. I want you to know more about me, and I'm terrible at talking about myself. I don't know why. I'm not great at talking at all, really, but it can't be an excuse I use to get out of telling you things, so I made you these. Maybe in some weird way they'll remind you that I always do what it takes to make you happy, even if I do a bad job at it sometime. Beads? Why did they feel so cold? They're moon beads carved from rocks that have fallen from the ever beyond. We collect them in the temple. They're supposedly sacred, but I mean, we have a whole pile of them. No one noticed when I carved a few into beads. Whenever you hold these beads, it'll be like you're holding a part of me. Technically, you'll be holding part of the moon, but I'm speaking metaphorically. I hope you keep them with you always, so I can be there with you no matter where you go. Lucius's moon beads. With these beads, may we and the sweet, brilliant light of the ever beyond be just a tiny bit closer. Ooh, 0.1 mana per second is pretty good. Halsey, there you are. I've been looking for you all evening, my starlight. What is it, Lucius? I wanted to know if you'd like to go out on a date with me. I've been thinking making those beads to show you my feelings was really easy. A lot easier than trying to talk about my feelings. It gave me a sort of idea. Instead of trying to tell you things, I want to show you things. Maybe that's an easier way for me to explain why I am the way I am. I have some things I would really like to show you, if you're willing and have the time to spare. I'm a little busy, but I'm in. Oh, Halsey, my starlight, the actual stars, the ever beyond themselves will seem like dim specks in the sky compared to you and your own glowy, shiny starriness. Anyways, would you consider meeting me at 8 p.m. tomorrow in front of the Temple of the Moon? I'll be waiting, don't worry. If you say so. Here, have a blueberry for your troubles. Single blueberry. My pleasure. Hello, Halsey. Are you ready to go? I've got everything ready to go, and the stars are going to be extra bright this evening. I'm ready. He's got a telescope. That's a big tube you got there, sir. It's called a telescope. It's an old piece of equipment we had at the temple. No one else was interested in it, so I took it for my own. It completely changes how you look at the stars, or anything really. So what are you doing with the telescope? I'm trying to locate a certain constellation. Constellation? Constellations are groups of stars that form a recognizable pattern. It's part of an old art of star reading. The temple used to practice the art, but at some point it was abandoned. I managed to find some journals about star reading in the temple's storage chambers. So you find shapes in the stars. That's right, but they're not just shapes, they have meanings to them. Like this one right here. Go on, take a look through the telescope. Are we gonna actually be able to see something? Oh, I love this. I love this. This is so cool. Okay, neat, wow. What do you think? Pretty impressive. And this part is for some reason in HD. Like, I don't know, maybe this is probably not supposed to be cut off the way it is. The way it's like cut off here. But still, I love the effect they did here. I'm very excited about it. I just think that they're trying out a lot of new and unique things, and I appreciate all of it. What do you think? Pretty impressive, isn't it? What is that? The constellation. Wait, huh? Let me take a peek quick. A quick peek. Or peek quick. A quick peek. A quick. That's not right. That's a typo. I'ma lose my mind on these typos, man. Oh, I must have bumped the telescope. This isn't what I was trying to show you. Heh. Now I'm curious, though. What is it? According to my star reading text, that's odd. I see a page in here that mentions a red star in the distance of the ever beyond, but someone must have poured a thick ink all over the rest of the page. Now, who would have done that? Some people have no respect for books. Mentions a red star in the distance of the ever beyond, but someone poured thick ink all over the rest of the page. What's in this star? Oh well, that isn't what I meant to show you anyways. Here, let me just readjust the telescope's position. I'm not done with this. What? Here we are. Take a look at this. I want to talk about that red star. there's some lore there that I just don't know about. Alright. The brightest stars form the pattern that comprises the constellation. What is this one named? This one is called the Dragon, because it looks like a Helios. The dragon is supposed to be a guardian and guide in the ever beyond, and those under its glow are protected by its watchful eye. There's a legend Elder Plato used to tell us that dragons came to our world from out in the ever beyond, following this dragon of stars. It's probably a load of griffin feathers, but I thought it was interesting. Say, which do you think the dragon constellation represents, Helios or Nivara? I am the dragon. Rawr! You? Well, you're impressive enough to be a dragon. Oh, maybe you're a reincarnation of the original dragon.
The woman was too stunned to speak.
Thanks, I hate it. Thanks, I hate it. This... Could you imagine if such a crazy thing were true? I didn't think it was true until you said that. And now... What? Anyway, moving on from that little piece of lore that just is so sneakily beyond my reach. There's actually another constellation I meant to show you. Give me just a moment. What do you want to see up there? You really think these stars mean anything? What do you want to see? I want to see everything. Have you ever gazed into the endless expanse of stars? It's endless. It stretches forever. There's so much up there, but there has to be some sort of wisdom we can learn from it all. Perhaps there is. When I looked up into the sky, seeing how small I was compared to it, it made me feel small, which was a nice feeling. Feeling so small made being lonely better. Jeez, does that even make sense? Makes sense to me, at least. No? No, it doesn't really make sense to me, but it's fine. But then, well, I met you. Someone else said the same exact thing. Wesley said the same exact thing. Didn't he? Someone said the same exact thing. No, but then I met you. Who was it? And does it mean anything? I don't know. I think it's just happenstance, but it is suspicious. And I realized maybe I wasn't as small and insignificant as I thought, or rather, it was harder to keep telling myself that. Maybe being a world apart from the others of Nelvari did bother me more than I thought. I have to say, falling in love turned out to be very troublesome. Not that I regret it, mind you. I've located the constellation I want to show you. Now I can stop talking and start showing. Whew. What do you want to show me? There are many silent languages out there, but I feel like the stars can say all the words we struggle to say. Hidden meetings like a bouquet of stardust. Very poetic. That one looks like a cat. Like Shang. What is this one supposed to be? It's a heart, I think? Or a bunny? Or a rock? It's a heart? That's right, this one is Heaven's Heart. Represents endless love, devotion, that sort of stuff. Anyways, you're supposed to show it to the person you love, according to the book, I mean. Oh, then why are you showing it to me? Well, it's just what an old musty star reading tome says, of course. Before I met you, I looked at the night sky for beauty. The stars don't shun each other or have problems with one another, but now I know there's an endless beauty on the ground, too. It's you! Heh. Endless beauty, that's me. I guess I said everything I wanted to say in the end, didn't I? Yeah, that was cute. You deserve to hear it. I have so many words for you. I'm just not used to actually getting to say them out loud. After thinking about it, I decided I couldn't go a day longer without showing you what you really mean to me. What if I said I love you too? You don't need to say it now. Just thank you. You accepted me, who I was, who I am. I had given up in believing someone would be interested in me, but here we are, my partner and myself, on a date looking at the stars. It feels like a dream. A dream for me as well. That's all I could ask for. Come, my starlight, I have even more to show you in the ever beyond. Lucius is a little too sappy for me, but I'll take it. You spend some time with Lucius looking into the endless sky until a sudden chattering in the trees interrupts your together time. Lucius informs you that it sounds as if the raccoons are arguing again and bids you farewell as duty calls. What do you mean? It's Lucius's job to manage the raccoons? What? Lucius just needs to, break up the raccoon fight, since apparently that's part of his nightly duties. Before you know it, he vanishes into the thick forest. Oh well, sometimes that's how things go. Okay. Very nice. So what do I think of Lucius's development so far? I feel like the second dates have... When I first started doing the romanceables, the second date was always where I knew I would be disappointed, because they were always showing some part of the character that did not align with the rest of the character. And I feel like the new set of second dates always puts the character into perspective. And so the second date, like, if I'm ever feeling shaky about a character, the second date always puts it into a good spot, and I end up feeling like, wow, that was really good, or like, oh, I like this character. So the second dates have been winners for sure. I think I really liked Lucius's second date. I think I love the creativity they're able to put into these cutscenes. I love that they're trying out new things with them, and I'm starting to see the way that Lucius is like fumbling over his words, and he seems like he has a hard time like opening up to you. The only thing I wish was more established, and I don't know if this was achievable in this patch, I just wish there was a little bit more of a base for the rest of Nelvari doesn't like us, because it definitely seems like there wasn't very much of that before this point. And maybe there was and I just didn't notice. That's entirely possible, but I didn't get a sense that there was. And I feel like that was kind of a necessary piece to have in order to understand Lucius and his story, is that like a lot of the other elves just don't like the moon marked, and they just like look down on everyone hanging out in the moon temple. But I didn't really get that beforehand, so it was a little bit confusing, because I felt like Lucius just felt discriminated against for no reason. So I wish there was some way to convey that a little bit more clearly, but I don't know if that's possible. It's just my own desires that was kind of a pre-established part of the Nelvari area. So that's okay though. I really love that second date. That was so fun. All right, this video is getting too long. I'm gonna have to cut it off. Basically, I think Lucius is a key part of the Moon Temple, Moon Attendant lore. I think that you don't have to date him to get this lore. I think they've done a good job of separating the lore from the character. So dating Lucius, you get the character development, and the lore is like in there to some extent, but it's not like you have to go through the whole marriage line to get the lore, and you also get like 90% of the lore just by talking to him and Elder Plato and seeing the books and all that. But my opinion on Lucius, I think Lucius grew on me quite a bit. So at first I didn't think I liked him all that much, and then as I was watching these clips back and like going back through my own experience, I realized that I really did like Lucius quite a bit. The only things I wish were different is that, one, there was like a pre-established conversation with Wesley von Orgorwin that was like, yeah, the Moonmarked, we don't really talk to them, like they're not really part of the village the same way that we are. I wish there was some kind of pre-established discrimination there to kind of help bolster up the empathy we could have with Lucius about feeling like a little lonely, a little outcasted. I think early on there was so much information to convey about who Lucius is and what he's going through, and it kind of could feel like each dialogue cycle was a very different tone. So I think it's hard to get around that because there's just only so many dialogue cycles and you have to convey so much information in each one. But I think Lucius very quickly went from like friendly to insecure to scared to insecure to secure to now we're on a second date. And so I think it may be because I'm rushing through these romances more than you would do organically in game that I'm experiencing it, those like dialogues too close together, and it's causing it to feel more jarring than it actually is. But I do think there was like a pretty dramatic change between each of those dialogues, and maybe it's meant to be that way. It was just a little bit hard for me to follow my first time around with trying to understand Lucius when he was like a little bit different every time I talked to him. But needless to say, I really liked the second date, and Lucius is so goofy, so funny. Between him and Shang, I still like Shang more, but I think that's subjective. I think Shang is just... Lucius is too nice for me. So I think Lucius like automatically gets minus points for being nice. But I actually know a ton of other people think Lucius is their favorite romanceable, Lucius is their favorite romanceable. So I know that he's had a great impression, and the story is fun, and I think Lucius is just such an enjoyable character. And I'm excited about all of this moon lore that we now are hopefully going to get more of in the future. But regardless, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed. Have a great rest of your morning, day, evening, whatever it is you're having. I hope it's lovely. Bye, everyone.